All right, we're doing calibration, touch, feats, exit. Oh, okay. Well, hopefully. Well, hello there. Welcome back to another Octopath Traveler video. This time we are going to be doing Tikilen tournament. Actually, I've been grinding already. So you have to rematch Tikilen. She's one of the tournament free 5-star characters we have. We have to rematch her in order to get materials to unlock her level cap, which we see in the exchange other. We do the battles, we get medals of victory Tikilen, in which we exchange for guide stones and also a special accessory, which is pretty good, but you can only use it on one character. So it's decent, but perhaps, in my opinion, I think the guide stone is more of a priority. So yeah, I've basically been grinding it. You have to do 100 battles essentially. If you want to unlock all the guide stones and the accessory, you have to do 100 battles in the rematch. And it's not easy. But I do have a really good team and a pretty good sequencing. So this is my team. The main players here actually is Ophelia. She is the main healer and she's really good also at raising defense. And she can break shield. The main shield breakers and essentially the main damage dealers for the side units, which are the mercenaries, is going to be Scarecrow and Odette. Scarecrow is really good because change teams. He's really good because both Scarecrow and Han are really good because they both have AoE moves which hit all the targets. Basically, in a Tikilen battle, the main weaknesses we're targeting I'm targeting here is bow and light. They also have other weaknesses like lightning and polearm, but mainly we're just targeting the bow and light weaknesses. And so Scarecrow and Han are really good at breaking shields of everybody in that battle. Han is a bit of a wildcard character because Arrow Storm hits between 3 to 5 times, and depending on how much it hits can actually really affect the battle. Obviously you want to hit 5 times because 5 times is significantly more damage than 3 times and also does a lot more damage. And then we have Alune is really good too for damage. She can act as a healer and a reser, but mainly I'm using her for damage. And then characters that don't really, and then I guess the final damage dealer is Odette. She's actually just there to clear the Tikilen, the main boss at the end. So she's there to clear the main boss. And then the other characters don't really matter. Like honestly, I'm using Tressa for 2 reasons. For opening damage and also for donate BP. Because Tikilen has a passive where towards the end of the battle when she's low on health, she might activate a move in which she gets buffed and she can only be hit by critical moves, and as such Honnet and Scarecrow become incredibly important because Honnet can always hit a crit using crippling shot, and Scarecrow also has pretty decent crit, and also his ultimate technique also always crits. But Tressa is there to donate BP to Honnet, so if at the end of the battle, if that passive is triggered, then Honnet is crippling shotting them for damage. But really, Tressa is not really necessary. Viola is also pretty not necessary as well. I only use her for one move. For one turn, all she does is debilitate Tikilen. That's all Viola does. So you can replace Viola with like any debuffer or even a buffer, even like a team buffer. So like a Therion or like a Falco. You can replace with Viola. And then Herminia is there for damage. I actually had initial triple healer. I had Ophelia, Alune, and Millard, and that was really good. But I tried using Herminia, and she's pretty good too because she actually inflicts a lot of damage, and she's really good at breaking shields in the end. Usually, I'm able to defeat Tikilen within 8 turns. The Herminia doesn't really matter. If I just have Alune there and no second unit, then it's totally serviceable. But with Herminia, I'm able to defeat it a turn faster, like 7 turns. if everything goes well. So it's pretty good. Charmenia saves me a turn. But I guess for stats wise, yeah. I guess we can just jump into the battle. Then that would be the easiest to kind of show. Also some relevant accessories. Ophelia having Kitty Cape raises her speed, which is really important because that means she outspeeds Tikilen. And outspeeding Tikilen is very important so that she can fully heal the team. And I'm at no risk of dying. So that's super important. Scarecrow having powerful critical belt too. Again, you want to raise his crit so it can hit more crits if that becomes relevant at the end of the battle. Usually it doesn't really happen where she triggers that passive where she can only get, or she triggers that skill where she can only hit crit moves, but it does happen. Honnet, just put extra damage on her. And then, yeah, I think there's nothing really else too relevant. So yeah, let's jump in. I can usually do it pretty fast, but this first time I'll kind of like go slow and explain it. And then yeah, we'll do a few fast runs because there's a lot of variance in these battles. So all my turns, if everything goes well, this is how it goes. So I target a bottom elite mercenary and I use Tressa's Swift Trifoot Thrust, and then we just go all AoE, unboosted. So unboosted all AoE, but with Tressa we do want to boost for the extra damage, because the extra damage is relevant. There we see Honnet hitting 4 times, which is important because it actually doesn't break the shield of the bottom mercenary. So if it breaks shield, then it's okay, but if it doesn't break shield, it's also okay. This turn what we do is we heal and protection max with Ophelia, shower arrow, arrow storm, and then actually we're going to be using radiant arrow with Herminia. Here's the normal sequence. I'm actually not afraid of dying. Sometimes I will talk about it in maybe another battle or later battle, but our risk of me dying, this battle seems pretty decent for now. I don't think none of my characters are gonna die, so that's always good. Now this turn we're gonna use healing protection again, but this time we're gonna actually boost with our AoE moves. So shower of arrow, arrow storm, and actually we're gonna boost with Lux Conjure here. We do get an instance of the radiant arrow from Herminia at the beginning of the turn. Here we also break Tikilen's shield, which is pretty good this turn. That usually happens, and we're just inflicting a lot of damage on the mercenaries. This next turn is a shield breaking turn, so we just use healing protection to heal because the 2 mercenaries can counter attack us. So that's what we want to do. We want to protect our Scarecrow from dying. Getting blinded. So the mercenaries sometimes use like shadow moves that blind us. Getting blinded from, or like if Scarecrow and Honnet get blinded, that's really bad because they can miss their arrows, they can miss their moves, and sometimes that would affect the shield breaking. But Illumine getting blinded or even Ophelia getting blinded is totally fine because elemental moves always have 100% accuracy, from what I've noticed. This turn is actually interesting. Again, we're gonna actually donate BP to Honnet specifically. Again, this is not really necessary, but if Tikilen does trigger the passive, or does trigger the skill in which she becomes immune to non-crit moves, then having that prior donate BP to Honnet is very valuable. So this turn we're boosting all our AoE moves and we're trying to defeat the mercenaries. This turn the mercenaries usually get cleared. And also Honnet is very important how much Honnet hit right there. Honnet only hit 3 times, which means Tikilen has a lot of shields. So Tikilen currently has 14 shields, so this turn we can't shield break Tikilen. So this is actually kind of an unlucky sequence, not like super unlucky, but kind of unlucky, in which Tikilen is not going to be broken shield this turn, unless we get a repeated Aria trigger. So that means that the following turn, turn 8, is when we'll break Tikilen's shield, and so we actually will do a little bit less damage. But here we're actually switching to Heaven Judgment on Ophelia for extra shield breaking. This is where we actually use Viola for the one and only time we're going to debilitate Tikilen. Raging Luminescence because we're going to decrease Tikilen's light resistance. And also, if Raging Luminescence gets a repeated aria trigger, which is a passive in which Odette can repeat a skill, then Tikilen's shield will break. But we don't really count on that repeated aria triggering. And then we use quadruple sturdy shot for, again, more shield breaking. So there, this turn we break shield 11 times, plus 1 because of the radiant arrow. And so as you see here, if Honnet would have hit 5 times, turn 6 or turn 5, it would have broken Tikilen's shield. But as you see there, Tikilen actually triggered that passive that I mentioned, and so we have to use crippling shot and we have to use rainfall to hit both crits. But yeah, if I didn't boost with Tressa, if I didn't donate BP, then my crippling shot wouldn't be max. But then we can break shield, and then yeah, that should be. We're probably not going to defeat Tikilen this turn. It was a turn 8 clear. But yeah, sometimes if you do too much damage, like I actually probably did too much damage right there. Tikilen ended up having too low health, and when she has too low health, she used that skill, which makes it so that she can resist non-crit moves. But anyways, this is the end of the battle. We basically clear already and just kind of going overboard with the moves. But yeah, and that is one battle. Again, that battle, everything went well until the very end, where she triggered that move where she can only get hit by crit moves. Usually that doesn't happen. Usually, most of the time that doesn't happen. But yeah, we go again. I need to do this battle like 30 more times. I'm not going to do them all on camera, but I just want to show like this initial sequence. So also, let's talk about how I die. You notice right there that I actually am front running Herminia, but I switched to Elune. Because if I run Elune first, she tanks this Tikilen hit right here. As you see here, Tikilen is going to hit. And if Elune gets hit by that, and then she gets hit 2 more times by the mercenaries, see? If it would have been hit 2 times by the mercenaries, then Elune would have died. So it's pretty important that she doesn't die there. Also, there is a potential that, for example, they blind, like I mentioned, they blind Scarecrow and Honnet, in which means if they blind Scarecrow and Honnet, them missing means that I break shield less efficiently, which could be pretty bad because it's less damage. But also, if I don't completely break the enemy's shields, you see that the top mercenary has a counter attack. So if I get really unlucky, for example, if Honnet gets blinded for some reason, if she gets blinded, wait, did I do that right? I think I did that right? I think I may have used Radiant Arrow a turn later than I should have. Did I? Not sure. Yeah, sometimes I just forget a sequencing. That's fine. Yeah, I think I did. I was supposed to use her. Yeah, but sometimes if the sequence is bad, and for example, like the top mercenary has 15 shields, or I think it's 14. So let's say if Scarecrow hits 4 times, and then Honnet only hits 3 times, and then Elune only hits 3 times, then the top mercenary still has 4 shields, and if Honnet hits 3 times again and she gets counterattacked, she might die. So it's pretty important that Honnet at least hits, if she hits double 3 with Arrow Storm, that's really bad, because if it hits double 3, that means that the top mercenary will counterattack Honnet, and Honnet could die if she has not enough health. And then Scarecrow usually never dies because Scarecrow hits after Honnet, and so usually Honnet will be taking the did I boost with Honnet? That's strange. Honnet will be taking the taking the counter attack. But here we have Radiant Arrows, which should eliminate the first mercenary. And then again, it looks like Tikilen will not be shield broken this turn unless we hit a repeated Aria. Which again, pretty unlikely that we hit a repeated Aria. But I've had it happen before where like I was able to break the shield with the repeated Aria. Again, I actually did way too much damage and now they triggered that passive. Again, this usually doesn't happen. So happening it twice in a row is honestly pretty unlucky. But it's fine. This is still a turn 8 clear, which is fine. I think it may have... No, I don't think I'm missing... Because I think I misclicked in the beginning. Maybe I didn't. I think I did misclick in the beginning. For some reason, yeah, I didn't fully trigger the character's moves. I think I triggered Alune's move when I should have triggered someone else. But it's fine. But yeah. We clear here, and it's not bad. It's not bad at all. I didn't even need to do anything. It would have just been... Because I used a Radiant Arrow move a turn later. It cleared Tikilen right there. So I think there isn't really much else to talk. I kind of want to go with a turn 7 clear if I can, if it's possible. Because yeah, we've had turn 8 clears because we've been unlucky with the passive. But again, Swift Arrow. At this point, like yeah, I kind of just memorized this. I guess why I kind of want to record this video. Because right now I memorized this sequence and I can do this pretty quickly. But I know that in a few more days, so I want to record this later in a few more days, then I would not remember. Here, just decent. Yeah, nothing crazy. Pretty unlucky that Scarecrow got blinded, because again, if Scarecrow gets blinded, then a lot of his hits might not land. Which again is less damage, less shield breaking. But in this case, as long as Haunted hits first, because it's important that Haunted hits because she's able to break the shields, because she goes before Scarecrow. Also, as you see here, sometimes her mini has a passive that bleeds, that causes enemies to bleed with her Lady in Waiting. But I've literally never seen Tikilen bleed. I don't think Tikilen can bleed. Okay, now we have good, perfect sequencing here with Hermione and Alune. But yeah, I've never seen Tikilen bleed before. I don't think she can bleed. Which is... I mean, it's fine. But that means that I can't get boosted damage with Hermione. But again, just AoE moves here. Nothing too crazy this turn. And then next turn we do the boost. We do the boost with everybody. Tressa gets boosted, donate BP on Haunted, and then all the other characters we're just trying to push AoE damage. And we do a lot of damage. Like Aerostorm and Shower Arrows do a lot of damage because we're hitting all 3 enemies, and all 3 enemies are weak to bow. So this is definitely one of the easier battles where all the enemies kind of have a similar weakness. But some battles later on is going to be much more difficult. This is way easy. And also, I'm using a lot of characters that I like rolled for. So, I rolled for Ophelia. She's a great healer. And also, she can res. And then I'm also using Alune, which I also rolled for. And she can also res. So I have double res in this team. And I have res with both of these characters before. I have res with Ophelia and I have res with... I have res with Alone. But this turn actually, I think Haunted previous turn hit a 5 Aerostorm. And so this turn we actually break shield because again we have 11, which Heaven, Judgment, Raging Luminescences, and Quadruple Sturdy Shot is 11 plus 1, which is from the Radiant Arrow. So we actually do clear Tikilen. We break Tikilen shield this turn, which means we have a turn 7 clear. But I was saying, sometimes characters die and my Ophelia is able to res, or my Alune gets to res. If Alune dies, which Alune has died, then Ophelia reses her. But if another character dies, then usually Alune would be the one resing. I also rolled for Odette and Herminia. Odette just does crazy damage, and she has the analysis move, which is really good. And then I just rolled for Herminia, right? And she's pretty strong. So this team is like, I rolled for a lot of these characters. And don't even forget Tressa. I rolled for Tressa. He's the first character I rolled for. So, again, Tressa's not really necessary, but I forced her because I think that I just like using Tressa. But yeah, I rolled for a lot of these characters. I rolled for 5 of these characters. 5 of these characters. Again, I think I basically talked mostly what I wanted to. So this will probably be the last battle here. We'll end on the video after this. Again, I'll do the rest of the grinding off camera because this isn't really the most exciting thing. Also, something to note is that everyone's Octopath Traveler count is different. So like, just because this sequence works for me doesn't mean it'll work for everybody. Because probably no one has the same characters with the same equipment and the same, you know, everything that I have currently. Alright, this turn is also a bit risky because as you see here, I need to hit a 4 or 5 to break the top mercenary shield with Honnet. If Honnet hits a 3, there is a chance that Honnet gets counterattacked and she dies. So we'll see. She needs to hit a 4 or 5 here. Okay, she hits a 5. Perfect. Scarecrow also almost died last turn, but that's fine because he didn't completely die. So yeah, it works for me. The sequence works for me, but you just kind of have to find your own sequence if you're doing these battles. And also, stylistically, this is how I play. You know, some people probably play with a different style. Perhaps using line net for buffing or the likes. But I like doing it like this. This is how I play. I prioritize the shield breaking. I think shield breaking is super important. And of course, this team is able to take advantage of some of the best shield breakers in this game, in my opinion. I think Honnet, I think anything with bow weakness just gets shield broken so easily because you have access to characters like Scarecrow is a great shield breaker. Honnet is a great shield breaker. Even Zonta is a great shield breaker as well. So Tikilen is pretty easy if you have characters like those. Even Herminia is doing pretty good work, and Alone does really good Lux Conjure damage here. But anyways, this turn again, we have to remember we're boosting the BP of everybody. Lux Conjuring. Ooh, Honnet missing. Not good at all. Yeah, so we're not going to be able to break Tikilen's shield next turn unless we get a repeated Arya trigger, which we'll see. Again, hasn't happened this video. I don't think we've gotten a single repeated Arya trigger this video, but sometimes it does happen. Sometimes it does happen. Again, I like to use a Dehabilitate. I really like Dehabilitate. I think reducing the resistance is pretty good. No, we did not get the repeated Arya. If we got repeated Arya, then we wouldn't need to worry about like this whole thing about we have to hit crits. But we didn't, so we have to worry about hitting crits. And also that Radiant Arrow kind of doesn't do any damage because it's a non-crit hit. I don't think Elemental Attack can never hit crits. I could be wrong about that. Do we clear this turn even? I don't think we do. No, I don't think Ophelia does enough damage. Yeah, we're barely off. We're barely off. This should do it though. And then that's it. So that's farming for, or me farming for Tikilen, maxing out. Again, I'm pretty far in. I don't have that many battles left. Like less than 30 battles, I think. Like, I think I'm at 29 battles. I think I need 29 more battles because I'm kind of keeping track here. So we go to exchange. We exchange these. Let's just go ahead and exchange all we can. I don't even have enough to max out Tikilen, but yeah, I don't have any of these. Let's see how far we can go. I think I can get her to like level 98. Let's show her. Yeah, I don't have any awakening stones. As you see, yeah, 1,734. Yeah, we can get her 98. 98 is pretty good. Well, thank you for watching. And yeah, maybe I'll have another video like this where I'm showing my sequencing for farming for another tourney character. I'm not sure exactly who I want to do next. Glossom, my target is either Glossom or Ritu. Glossom is weak to dark, and that gives me a perfect time to test out my completely maxed out Auguste. Like completely maxed out. I mean completely maxed out, I mean he's like completely maxed out. But also, since I'm upgrading Tikilen to max, Ritu also becomes a possibility of who I want to do next. So yeah, I'll probably do Ritu or Glossom next. But we'll see. I still need to finish Tikilen. I have 30 more battles. Alright, so yeah, that's the video. Thank you for watching. Tikilen farming, 100 battles, so fun. Woo. Honestly, it's pretty good. Just to end it, to be honest, with this team, like the Tikilen battle is super easy. But I'm afraid that the other battles are going to be a lot more difficult. So we'll see.